everyone, this is Mona with Vendor University and Stephanie Nostwick, our Workbench expert. Today we're covering merchandise and done list reports. This is session 2 in a 3-session series that we have for Workbench, where we do offer one a month. So we do thank you for joining us today. Real quick, if you can, I would like for you to test out the chat feature. If you can hear me and you can see the presentation, please let us know the following information: your location, your city and state, and the businesses that you support. So for example, Antioch, Illinois, Kmart Toys Action Figures. So go ahead and use the chat now to answer those questions. We'll come back to that in just a moment. So today's webinar will be recorded after the presentation, so later today or tomorrow I will send out a link to the video as well as to the PowerPoint that you'll be able to access. So please put your phone on mute when you're not speaking. If you're listening to the audio directly from your computer instead of calling in, be sure to mute your computer's microphone. This helps to minimize the background noise for our participants. And if you don't know how to access your microphone on your computer, you can go to Control Panel, Sound, and then Recording tab. So please wait to audibly ask questions until designated times. There will be several times throughout the presentation where Stephanie will ask if you have any questions. Please keep questions on topic and minimal, and then feel free to submit any questions during the chat at any point through the presentation. We will be monitoring the chat so we can follow up on those. So I did ask if you could hear me and you could see the presentation to let us know your location and your business. So let's look at some of the responses. We have Jim in San Diego. He does Kmart swim and snorkel products. We have Portland, Oregon with Sears Shoes. Clara City, Minnesota with seasonal decor. Woonsocket, is that Rhode Island, right? R.I., I think. Yep. Kmart, Sears, and infant products. Colorado, Kmart and Sears camping. Milwaukee, that's not too far from us. Kmart men's and boys apparel. So that's great. Being able to see what businesses you support kind of helps Stephanie as she goes through the presentation to kind of visualize how you might use these reports. So if at the end of the presentation, if we're not able to answer your question, either we miss it in the chat or we just needed more information and more detail, please email vendoruniversity@searshc.com and we will be happy to either direct you to someone that can answer your question or take the time to dig a little bit deeper with the details that you provide to try to provide you an answer directly. So I'm going to pass on to Stephanie. Like I said, she's our Workbench expert, and she's going to take it from here.
Hi, everybody. So here's a little bit about me. I'm a BU trainer. I train the newly hired inventory analysts, and I assist Mona a little bit with the vendor training as well. Formerly, I was an inventory and then a senior inventory analyst for about 3 years, and I supported Kmart businesses. The businesses I supported were in Kmart Kids World. I supported underwear. I also supported infant hard lines. And when I was in the business, I used SHC Merchant Workbench reporting to illustrate sales performance, manage inventory levels, track orders, and assist with special store projects. So we were in Workbench all of the time. So today we're going to learn what information is provided in the DUNS and the merchandise list reports. And in doing so, we're going to learn how to run the DUNS and merchandise list reports. Before I keep going, are there any questions or are you guys ready to get started? All right, we'll get going. So a little bit about the data availability before we actually view the reports. Receipt information goes back 2 years by KSN and 18 months by purchase order. Sales information goes back 2 years. Inventory is 2 years for the fiscal week, 35 days if you're pulling by day. Order tracking goes back 15 months, and accounts payable information is a rolling 12 months. It's important to know that it can take up to 2 days for data changes to reflect in Workbench. And a special note for Sears JIT vendors. Sales and inventory are not available on Workbench. You should request SDP access for Workbench, not full access. And sales and inventory is available on the Sears Business Exchange, and go ahead and send an email to vendors@searshc.com for access. So let's talk a little bit about the DUNS list report before we go in and try to run it. This report is used to determine pay, order, and ship DUNS numbers assigned to your company by division, by flow path. This information was very, very valuable when you were trying to track orders and work with your inventory analyst to make sure your stuff gets to the stores on time. It's also very useful for setting items up. So if you ship to both Sears and Kmart stores, your Sears order DUNS is going to be displayed as a 10-digit number that starts with a 1. For EDI, you must use an 11-digit number, so add leading zeros as necessary. So we're going to exit the PowerPoint in a moment, and you'll see me navigate from the vendor portal. The menu location for this report, once we get into Workbench, is Information, Vendor, and DUNS List. And I encourage you guys, if you feel confident enough, to go ahead and try and follow along while we pull this report. So from the vendor portal, I'm going to scroll down, and right at the top of the Kmart and Sears applications, you see SHC Merchant Workbench. We're going to navigate there. Okay, pulled up right here. No issues viewing my screen? All right. So to pull our DUNS list, we're going to use this menu location here. We're going to navigate to Information, click on that. Then we're going to go down to Vendor, right here. And then we're going to click on the DUNS list. So as you can see in this screen, you've got a couple of different selections you can make. You can pull by division. If you support multiple divisions, I would recommend doing one at a time. You can also load, if you know your order DUNS, you select the radial button here, type in the order DUNS information, and click Add. Or if you have it saved in a CSV, you could load the file. You would just select Load File and then select it from where you've got that saved. You could also load a Pay DUNS or Ship DUNS, but remember to click the radial dial if you're gonna change which DUNS you're loading. Another option is if you know all, or well, you guys would know all of your vendor name, you can type that in under the vendor name. So there's a couple different ways to pull back your data. Whichever way you select, once you're happy with your selections, you would go up into the upper right-hand corner and click Submit.
Do we know what the training is for?
Then you'll end up seeing a couple of DUNS numbers that you can select. I'm not actually going to display anybody's DUNS numbers because I don't want to share any confidential information. I'm not sure how many different vendors we have on this call. But select the DUNS numbers by, if you want to select all of them, it should all be highlighted, and then you can go ahead and click Submit again. And then your report should populate. So once you get your report to download, it would look something like this. So as you can see here, you've got a couple of different sections. And right here we've just got the Pay DUNS and Order DUNS displayed. Going towards the right, you'll see your Ship DUNS information as well. So you can see all the different Pay DUNS you've got listed along with the addresses, city, state, and zip code, as well as the divisions that are associated with them. That might be, we've got a question. When I hit Submit, it just generated a report in another window. That might be just because you don't have multiple DUNSes. So that's fine. As long as you're getting your report with the pay dones, ship dones, order dones information, that's A-okay. So this is really valuable information when you're setting up items, especially as an analyst. I would need to know which ship dones, because that's associated to the ship point that you're shipping your product out of. So very useful report, good information, pretty easy and pretty quick to run. If there are no other questions, we'll move on to the merchandise list. Everybody's good? All right. So the merchandise list report is used to verify that information has been properly added to IMA. It helps validate item setup, especially by looking at these key fields. So your hierarchy information, which includes the division, category, subcategory, the retail G10, which is the retail UPC number, except for exploding assortments, because they don't actually have a retail G10 because we don't sell exploding assortments. We sell their inners. The cost, owner vendor pack ID, the order done number, and that will help to make sure that EDI is actually mapped correctly. The shipping G10, which is a shipping UPC number of 12 of 5 number. The total eaches to make sure that you've got your pack configuration set up correctly, that that's actually how you're going to be shipping the product. That's a really important thing. I can't tell you the number of times that we've had resets be delayed because we can't actually receipt the product because it was shipped in a different configuration. It just delays us being able to receipt it. The more work you can do up front, the better it is. So from the menu that we were at before, I'm going to exit and I'm going to go back into Workbench. We're going to navigate to Information, Item Hierarchy, and Merch List. All right. So as you guys can see, we're still in the Information tab. We're going to scroll up a little bit, and under Item Hierarchy, we're going to go down and select the Merch List option. Yes, these slides will be available after Mona is able to put them all together. She'll send out this presentation. So from this menu location, this merch list, you can see there's a couple of things that we need to fill out. So you can use your hierarchy restrictions to select a division, category, and subcategories. If you wanted multiple subcategories, you would just hit your control and then click. And if you wanted to deselect, control and click. That goes for any of the selections. You are able to load, if you know retail G10 information, KSN ID, item ID, DCKSN pack ID, reporting ID, or markdown style information. You can type it just in the, like we saw in the prompt before, or you can load a CSV file. The way that we've got this selected here is going to be by vendor pack ID. And the columns that we're going to get back, that's noted here. So you can see these guys that are selected in blue are actually what we're going to get back. So if I wanted to select the sub-season code, I would hit Control and click on it, and now that's going to be brought back as well. This is all same thing with the retail G10. You can select that. So this is everything we're going to be bringing back in this report. And as you can see, I'm not going to click the Submit button to generate one because it's got some confidential information, but I would definitely recommend that you go ahead and try to run your own. There's a couple of other restrictions that if you wanted to select, you could. I found that the clearer I am up here, the less I need to do down here. But you have that option to pull by your order dones as well, pay dones, all of these good things. So once you hit submit, you should get a report to generate that looks like this one that I'm about to pull up. So this report is, we've separated them out so you can kind of see all of the things that are going on here. But you've got all of your hierarchy information, and it's really nice to have this one-stop shopping. Because if you've been in IMA and been clicking around, you'll know that all this information is housed in multiple tabs. So you've got your list here. Now you can go through and validate, make sure that your items are set up correctly, help troubleshoot any issues if there are receiving issues. A lot of really nice things to this report. Descriptions, all the cost information, all this good stuff. Any questions about the merch list? For those of you who are able to generate it, did you have any issues? Does this report show discontinued items as well? It does. You can see here KSN ID status is unavailable. So that means that we're not actively ordering that product. You can do, I think, the restrictions if you're formatting the report to pull back only available stuff. I actually do, Mona was kind enough to remind me, I have, if you were to download it to Excel, I've got some examples in Excel to show you guys as well. What does W stand for? In which column are you looking at?
PSN ID.
While supplies last. No problem. All right, so I'm going to pull up the Excel file so you can see kind of what those reports look like in that. So here's this merch list. You can see it's in plain text format when I click. That's a great, I'll answer that question in a second. When I click Open Excel, you can see this is plain text, and this you can manipulate this data however you want. A really great resource for definitions of all columns. I'll show you guys how to navigate to that in just a second. So this is all, you can see here's your reaches for inner information, all that good stuff that we talked about. And here's just, for example, the dones list. Here's the pay dones, order dones, as you keep going, ship dones information. So, great question. How can I get the definitions of all the columns? We're going to go back into Workbench. And this is a very, very awesome feature. If you go ahead and click Help from this prompt, it will actually direct you straight to the help page on the merchandise list report. So you got a lot of really good information about what you're looking at here. And then if you can see down here, some of these items are hot-spotted. So if I were to click here, scroll over, and blow this up so you guys can see it a little bit better. I clicked on merchandise selections and I got a definition of what that meant. Then if you guys are looking at the actual report screen, there is a way to see a sample. See, we've scrolled down here and we can see, click here to see a sample of the merchandise list report. So I've clicked on that and you've got this general description. And then again, the fields on the sample screen are hot spotted. So if I were to click what is a season code, I get the item selling season and I get what each number means. So that's really helpful as well. I would really encourage you guys to use the help feature. It's not just for the merchandise list report. You can use this help feature for any of the reports that you're generating. Any questions about this feature? Does that help answer how you get all the column definitions? I think so. All right. all I've got for this webinar, besides a couple of housekeeping things. If you guys need to contact us, vendor support is vendors@searshc.com. Please contact this email address if you are experiencing any setup issues. So maybe you're not seeing a DUNS number that you know you own. That's who you'd want to contact for setup issues like that one. If you've got more specific questions about the reports, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm at stephanie.noswick@searshc.com. And in the body of the email, include your pay DUNS number when that applies, your description of the issue, the report name, what you've selected, and any screen prints that might apply. Screen prints are really, really helpful for troubleshooting issues. And here's a little bit more information on help in case you don't know, how we access that. When Mona emails this out, you'll have this nice little reminder and these screenshots to access the help feature. Are there any additional questions for today?
Okay, so we'll stay on the line for just a few more minutes just in case someone thinks of some questions coming up. But otherwise, have a great day. And again, if you need to email and you don't have Stephanie's email address handy, you can always email vendorsuniversity@searshc.com, and we'll always be sure to forward it to the appropriate party. So we'll hang on the line for a few more minutes, but have a great day, everybody.